how important is it to have the feedback loops with your buyers to kind of look at, to make sure that one, that the campaign's successful, but two, also make sure you're just not collecting a check just for the sake of collecting a check?
Yeah, 100%. I think I found within the lead gen space as a whole, it's operating in a black box where a lot of folks don't want to tell you how well something's performing, because then the expectation is that they're going to charge you more. Starting there, and then also one of the pieces that we focus on, every contractor or buyer that we have that we bring on, we make sure that we have an automated daily report, disposition reporting down to the T. We know when a consumer is setting an appointment because we listen to every single call.
Right.
We know when that appointment's going to run. We then get a disposition for when it has run, why didn't it convert? Also, what we do is after 5 calls, we have a one-on-one with the client. How did the transition go? How did the handoff go? You know, what are your agents saying on the other side? Like, what could we do better in order to ensure that this is working for you?
Are you stuck in that $3 to $10 million year-over-year revenue? Roofs in a Box is your all-in-one growth partner for modern construction companies. They combine AI, virtual staffing, and CRM solutions to help streamline operations. Replace your high fixed overhead with cost-effective systems and support. They empower you to run a smarter, leaner business, freeing up capital where it matters most. Mention this ad to save 10% on your next Roofs in a Box purchase. This episode of Pain Points is brought to you by Ringba. If your business relies on phone calls, you need to be working with them. Their technology will help you get the most money out of your marketing campaigns. Their call exchange, Ringba X, can deliver inbounds on demand to help grow your customer base. Now, I want to be transparent. Ringba and Adam did pay me to deliver that message, but I'm also a customer, and I've watched them help dozens of companies become more successful over the years. So if you sell a product or service over the phone, I guarantee a moment with their team will be worth it.
All right, man, welcome to another episode of Pain Points, where real pain equals real growth. Today we got a good friend of mine, Ricky Singleton. First of all, I'm just proud of your success, my man. Where you come from, coming from a young cat at Fluent to just making your own stamp in the industry and now entrepreneurship, man. So just first and foremost, man, congratulations to your success, right?
I definitely really appreciate that. It's funny, going back about 8 years, you and Dave were literally the first client meeting that I ever had.
Wow.
So, I mean, definitely fast forward, and it's been a pleasure, watching both of our careers kind of progress over the last 8 years.
Right. And it was even cooler, and not to ride your coattails, but the fact of the matter is when you see the evolution of somebody, like the maturity in the relationship, the wedding, the marriages, the emotional maturity, but also just kind of the awareness to continue to self-improve, I think is what's the most impressive. There's so many people in this game that lets success change them. You stay true to yourself, but also just matured as a man. So just first and foremost, that's just as of amazing as your success that you've been given.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. Cool. It's definitely a little raw back in the beginning, but
we all are.
Yeah, we've come a long way, man. It's I definitely attribute a lot of the maturity, a lot of the mentorship, like I said, to following you guys through the industry and really trying to make a mark, and learn from mistakes that other people have had, that I've had along the way. And yeah, it's definitely been a ride.
Yep. So this is kind of unorthodox. I'm going to start with the end in mind and then work backwards. So I want to talk about like you in the call center space, because this wasn't your forte. You worked with call centers. You've done lead generation for quite some time. You understand the KPIs, but you're relatively new in the call center space, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, started out really, for lack of a better term, kind of slinging leads. Like, right. It was really easy to, understand data and work with those call centers where I was largely just selling, high intent leads to the call centers, like understanding what they were looking for, right? The issue that we always started finding was we knew that the data was good,
right.
And for whatever reason, the call centers couldn't close, right? So
you're talking about advertisers, buyers, call centers couldn't close.
Yeah, exactly. So, fast forward, we decided about 9 months ago, we launched our own call center with all remote agents, domestic. where, we're dialing the same leads that we're selling to these contractors that just couldn't figure out how to, one, get a consumer on the phone, period. Like contact rates were sub 5%. Where did that come from?
Right.
We're dialing those leads ourselves. We're getting a 40, 50% contact rate.
Right.
The ability to set an appointment, we're setting at about a 20% on the phone ourselves.
Right.
And our transfers are setting at about 80% now.
Right. Which is kind of ironic because you mentioned the KPIs that I measure by, right? Like if we're at about 20% set rate for about 40% contact rate over the life of the lead, not even immediacy, right? If it's over 4 or 5 passes, you should get about 40, 50% contact rates, right? Speed to lead. And so all the cadences you just mentioned are the same things I look for. And yet you doing it yourself, you hit it, and then your direct buyers could not.
Yep.
Right. So just, and I know this is a loaded question. Why do you feel that they don't get the same KPIs? Is it speed to lead? Is it cadences? Is it lead nurturing? Is it process? All the above?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination. Everybody now is focused on the idea of AI, right? Like how can you incorporate that into your modern day technology? Our dialer is tuned, very, very, very precise. We have AI customized scripting platforms. We have a constant review where you don't even need a ops person listening to calls and
for QC.
Understanding for quality assurance and everything. Like incorporating that, our ability to speed the lead, and then also understanding the data. Like we make a very, very big point of analyzing every single publisher, every sub-ID, the consumers, doing lookalike targeting, like everything combines into a successful campaign.
So I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but I think I was talking to some people new in the construction space, right? I mean, relatively successful. I mean, 10, 15 million a year, and they've never been to a leads con before. And I was talking to them earlier. So this whole social terminology, speed to lead, contact rates, sub-IDs, people don't understand this. I don't want you to geek out too far, but but because my audience may not understand, can you try to understand the important, what is a sub-ID? And then 2, why is it important to measure the sub-ID separately?
Yeah, definitely. I think it goes back into starting in the data game originally, right? What we find is there are a ton of publishers out there. Everybody's generating the same type of consumer.
Yeah.
But a lot of these pubs are getting judged by overall performance.
Right.
Sub-IDs being a very specific code around how did that consumer end up on your form?
Yeah.
How did they end up being dialed? How did they end up in your call center? Those sub-IDs are based on traffic type.
Like from Meta to Google, to all the variants of different type of people.
And then also the creatives that go into it.
Right.
So we're testing several creatives at once, right? Yeah. It could be the difference of a male contractor or a female contractor, or the certain type of person on the phone, like everything.
Enjoying the show? Like, comment, and subscribe. Pain Points is all about helping contractors and business owners avoid costly mistakes, find new opportunities, and grow profitable companies. Thank you for being part of the community. Let's build together.
Ties back to that sub-ID.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So now let's talk about, because I know like a lot of people think they can do it themselves, and I've been guilty of this. Even me, like I've come from the call center space, and yet I still have to rely on outsourcing a lot of my call center activity, because I know how hard it is, how much money it is, telephony cost, training, floor managers, all the things that I just really never knew until you knew, right? And I know a lot of people try to do this on their own, but can you kind of talk about some of the pain points of, like, one, kind of the cash burn? And I know it's not sexy to talk about because it's like people always want to talk about the I just came out killing it day one. And then 2, what are the biggest like hires and pain points that you wish you knew then that you know now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, touching on the cash flow piece initially, right? We were burning about 20 to 25 grand a month in lost revenue.
Right.
Just strictly dialer systems, the agent cost, the data cost. The data cost definitely is by far the most expensive piece.
Right.
The reason that we find outsourcing call centers for direct contractors, and the reason we decided to build our own, was the pain point, like you said, is exactly in that, where contractors are very, very good at what they do.
Right.
Unbelievable roofing jobs, unbelievable, flooring, remodel, etc. But some of these guys that we're talking to, they literally have like their mom is the one that's dialing a lead that they got via email,
Yeah.
45 minutes after it showed up, and maybe they don't even call it themselves. Like, having a third party be able to directly qualify a consumer,
Yep.
transfer them over to you, where all you have to do is set that appointment, set that time and place. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
And we've even taken it a step further, where we found a lot of folks were having an issue with the lead gen space as a whole, where they bought a bunch of leads or they bought a bunch of calls and they just didn't convert for whatever reason.
Right.
And you're paying on a per lead basis. We decided to bet on ourselves. So with all of our contractors, we're getting paid on a cost per appointment set, a cost per demo, or a cost per sale.
Right. That makes sense. Now, this is separate from this, so thanks for that, and thanks for talking about the not sexy stuff. Now, what do you wish you knew you had, like, now that you, like, what you know now, what you wish you knew then? Like, what kind of hire would you have made quicker? What kind of mistakes did you make early on that you wish you navigated differently if you were going to do it again?
I'll be honest, the burning through data was definitely a big learning curve.
Right.
I, not for nothing, was a little bit cocky about, coming from the data space and understanding analytics around it and everything, but we tested really aggressively too quickly.
Yeah.
It was more so like the idea of, I didn't want to wait, 2 or 3 months to figure out what is working.
Right.
Like, I wanted to know day one.
Right.
That definitely didn't help. Putting out 10, 15 grand a week in data costs, definitely not the way to go.
Right.
And then on top of that, a very good qualified call center manager.
Right. That's worth its weight in gold.
Oh, 100%. Like, I've never dealt with call center agents myself.
Right.
And I saw, yourself and Dave deal with that we came down to your call center in
Right.
Greenville. I watched it in person. I was kind of blown away by the whole, process and the people.
Right.
That definitely key. I think not being afraid to hire and kind of let go agents if they're not performing.
Yeah.
So even though you don't want any kind of turnover, we made a really big point of, hey, we'll give you, 2 months.
Yeah.
If it's not working out,
Which is generous.
if it's not working out, it's not working out.
Yeah. The thing about like call centers that I don't think people really understand, you get about a 30% churn rate, right? You're always replacing the bottom 30%. It's almost like a door knocking or a sales team, right? You have the top producers, but then you got the middle people, which is kind of got to coach up, and they kind of up and down like a heartbeat. But then you always got the bottom 30% you're constantly replacing.
Yep.
Right. So you almost have to have the recruiting piece down to a science, because you're constantly doing these classes, you're constantly replacing, and then it's this constant nurturing, right? Evolution of just coaching, and it's nonstop.
I think just touching on the coaching piece, and like you said, the worth your weight in gold with that call center manager.
Right.
Our call center manager is listening to every single call. Right. That our agents are going through. And then we'll pull them off the phones in periodic, parts of the day or the week where she'll go one-on-one. Right. And like really work through scripting. And, I heard, this type of rebuttal, but maybe if you just approached it this way, then we saw conversion rates go through the roof.
Right.
So we didn't need to hire 30 agents in order to convert and be able to get enough appointments on the board that we do with 10 agents.
Right. So next question that's kind of, and I've seen you do this, and this is becoming a little more popular, but still rarity in the space. I love how you guys do like strategics, right? How you're looking for feedback loops. And I think a lot of companies just kind of sign them up and kind of burn and churn, and if they stop, they stop. If they buy, they buy. But how important is it to have the feedback loops with your buyers to kind of look at, to make sure that, one, that the campaign's successful, but two, also make sure you're just not collecting a check just for the sake of collecting a check?
Yeah, 100%. I think one issue that I found within the lead gen space as a whole is kind of operating in a black box, where a lot of folks don't want to tell you how well something's performing, because then the expectation is that they're going to charge you more, right? I mean, starting there, and then also one of the pieces that we focus on, every contractor or buyer that we bring on, we make sure that we have an automated daily report.
Right.
Disposition reporting down to the T.
Right.
We know when a consumer is setting an appointment because we listen to every single call.
Right.
We know when that appointment's going to run. We then get a disposition for when it has run. Why didn't it convert? Also, what we do is after 5 calls, we have a one-on-one with the client.
Right.
How did the transition go? How did the handoff go? You know, what are your agents saying on the other side? Like, what could we do better in order to ensure that this is working for you?
I've seen a lot of times, like, and I hate teaching this to even on the affiliate side, like trying to teach AMs how to handle leads, right? Because I always say, go back and talk to them. Did every lead, like, talk about every lead, what happened on it? Because it's easier to fix it when it's new, right? Versus 20, 30, 40, 50 leads in, you spend thousands of dollars, and now you're realizing it's not working, customer's mad, when some of the issues could have been fixed like week 1 or day 1, right? And instead it's kind of like an ongoing slow bleed, and then next thing you know, the customer's pissed, and you know, and it's not really the fault of the matter, is it's really on both parties, right? The customer's not knowing the numbers, and then also the AM not doing the customer a disservice, because a lot of times, like you said, they're contractors, they're great at what they do, but marketing and lead gen isn't necessarily what they've been brought up to do.
Yeah,
right? We live in
definitely.
it, so it's a different. We eat, breathe, sleep it, so we're just taught, but they're not.
Yeah.
Right. It's like me. If I'm a roofer, if I'm selling roofing leads, I can't tell you how to like construction code for that roof, you know, or what shingle's the best. You know, they live it, so they eat, breathe, and sleep that kind of stuff. We eat, breathe, and sleep KPIs and numbers and matrix. Right?
Yeah, and I always go back to a really simple phrase: do what you do well.
Yeah.
If that isn't your strength, then you can accelerate your business way faster by paying somebody else to do that for you.
Okay.
These roofing guys, contractors and remodel contractors and everything, they're very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, lead gen, marketing, that type of thing isn't your strength. Well, instead of struggling through it, burning through tens of thousands of dollars in, you know, budgeting costs and, you know, trying to onboard certain agents and things like that.
Yeah.
Bring on a third-party center that's literally delivering you an appointment.
Right. So I know I've asked this question earlier today, and I want to repeat it because we're at LeadsCon right now. It's one of the greatest lead event, but it's overwhelming for people that have never been here, right? There's a lot of fakers. There's a lot of people that are in it for a quick burn. You know what I mean? It's just hard to navigate. So if you're new to the lead gen space, if you're a company that's saying looking for the right lead provider, what would be some of the key things that you would look for, questions that you could ask to kind of understand, at least navigate the BS and trying to figure out who's the real deal in the space? Because I know it's hard to, even being from the space, sometimes I have to ask a lot of questions to navigate it.
Yeah, you definitely got to sift through a lot of BS, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I've been in the space 8 years now, and I still am working through sifting through quite a bit of it. I think one of the main things is understanding are the metrics that somebody is projecting accurate? Like, and it's really hard to determine, you know, that they are very, very truthful with it.
Yeah.
But if you're asking, you know, what is your standard set rate, or what is your standard like cost per lead, cost per sale, like what are all of those KPIs backed into?
Yeah.
And if the numbers don't line up, it's simple math.
Yeah.
Like somebody says that they're setting at a 20% rate and that there's a 15% marketing cost, but then they tell you that it's costing $5-6 grand for a $20,000 job. Well, that's not 15%.
Yeah. There was no match.
Like that's easy.
Yeah. You already have the holes in the detection. Okay. And then the second thing is like, the second thing is like, what kind of is a good test do you feel for small business owners or mid-sized business owners? Because I feel like some of them cut the cord too quick. Other ones, they let it go on too long. Like, what's a good measuring stick that you think, as far as a budget or the amount of leads people should really test before they kind of form opinions on the lead flow?
Yeah, I mean, typically it depends on what the cost per lead is, right? For the total budget, typically we like $7,000 to $10,000 is a good basis point, or at least 100 leads.
Yeah.
And the reason being is we do a ton of analytics, right?
Yeah.
We know that it takes time. And like you said, people will cut the cord really fast.
Yeah.
We've had contractors pause after 10 leads.
Right.
If your goal is a 20% set rate and you pause after 10 leads, then how, like, you had to get 2 out of that in order for that to be a success.
Right.
Or you get to 20 and now you have 4, okay, or you have 2, but you get to 100. If you get to 100 and you're not hitting that mark, then you need to seriously reconsider.
Yeah.
But if you get to a point of, typically I like to get to at least 40 or 50 leads before I do some serious optimizations.
Yep. And you brought up a good point, and I used to use this analogy when I was in Google marketing back in the day when I was like an agency. And I used to say, like, when people talk about KPIs, if I go to 10 people and ask them what their favorite Mexican food in Vegas is, and it's a taco stand on the south side of Henderson, does that mean that 10% of Vegas or Nevada thinks that? Or my sample size too small?
Mm-hmm.
So you do need to have a large enough sample size to kind of understand what the KPIs. So that's the KPIs as far as set rate, but there is a different KPIs as far as contact.
Mm-hmm.
If people are dialing leads within a proper cadence, let's say within the first few minutes, which is actually kind of rare for a lot of contractors, but let's just say even within a minute, is there a certain, because you're going to get stuff like wrong numbers, fat thumbs, like you said, different ad copy creates different kind of intent. So and that's one of the things we're measuring, right? We may have 5 different ad copies, and then this ad copy doesn't produce, but this one does. So as we're changing stuff, that may happen. But out of the first like 10, 20 leads, is there earlier KPIs besides set rate that customers should be looking for? I know it's depending on the type of data.
Mm-hmm.
Like Meta, you're expecting 15 to 20% set rate. Google, probably 30 to 40% set rate, right? But is there a certain amount of like interested, not interested, connect rates that you should be looking at early on? I know you mentioned some earlier.
Yeah, so I think pretty standard, if you can get, say, a 15 to 20% contact rate on an initial pass.
On the first dial.
Yeah, on the first dial, that is a very, very strong lead form, in my opinion.
Right.
Typically, we'll dial for about 14-day period.
Yeah.
We'll start with 2 or 3 calls a day for the first week, then lower it down to 1 or 2 calls for the second week. But during that time period, we'll get up to 40, 50, 60% contact rates. You need to get people on the phone in order for them to set an appointment.
And I think this is what people don't understand as far as when we say contact rate, it's not 40% first pass.
Yeah.
It's 40% over 5-6 passes over the phone. So it's and it's not calling on the same type each day, right? So if you're calling at 1 p.m. on Monday, you're not calling 1 p.m. on Tuesday. You probably want to call 3 p.m. on Monday, and then 5 p.m. on Monday, and then maybe in the morning the next time, or maybe even SMS, and have different types of cadences to reaching out to that consumer.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But you're not calling at 9 a.m. every day for 14 days and say, why haven't they answered their phone?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think, like we said earlier, the speed to lead is definitely major, right?
Right.
We're dialing every lead that hits our call center within 30 seconds.
Cool. And so what do you feel right now like is the biggest, and I know most of my audience is going to be roofing and construction in general, but what do you feel like is the hottest lead type right now? Like, what do you feel like the biggest growth, the biggest, like a lot of people coming in for a land grab right now in the home service space?
Yeah, I think within roofing specifically, the types of jobs that we're seeing and the highest, overall performance is largely coming in from search and social.
Yeah.
We're running a ton on Meta.
Yeah.
And then also, I think search as a whole is probably going to be your best overall performer, but it's very expensive.
How are you doing on Meta? Because when I run Meta internally, unless I do like cute little cartoony things, it's something that has nothing to do with roofing, like video content, like my stills and my carousels and whatever, like doesn't work anymore. Are you kind of seeing the same thing in Meta, or do you kind of just test a bunch of, is it a contingent on market? Is it contingent on age demographic, or do you kind of just keep testing multiple different things?
Yeah, we've actually started testing creatives based on locale.
For those of you who don't know, Ricky, we're in Vegas, so he had a long night with my partner. So he's losing his voice, but he's been kind enough to...
Yeah, it's kind of coming and going.
Yeah.
No, I think what we're starting to do is we're testing based on local markets.
Yeah.
So you're really trying to understand the consumer on a deep level.
Okay.
So my partners and I have started developing landers and creatives based on, the Carolinas or the Southeast or Texas.
Yeah.
A lot of lead gen providers are running the same creative nationwide.
Yeah.
but I don't think that is going to really, hone in on the type of consumer that a contractor in North Carolina isn't going to relate to somebody that's in California.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed that with even AI, like some of my AI, it's like in the tier 1 markets, they're much more used to the AI, and when I get a tier 2, tier 3 market, like they almost hang up, or the disconnect or the hang up rate's much higher exponentially.
Yeah.
It's not ready for the tech stack, right? Or they just say operator, they just get frustrated if it's not a live person now. It's like each, not just everyone responds differently to creative, but everyone responds different to technology the same way, right? Like it's almost like the Yellow Page era, like some markets, Yellow Pages still work 10 years after Google took over. But these bigger cities, they just so it's just the same thing in marketing, right? People, the response rate to a certain type of creative or certain type of ad or certain type of content is going to get different reactions based on the demographic.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
So what's next for you, man? I know you guys are growing. You guys are huge in the lead generation space and home services predominantly. But where's the evolution of OpenHome going?
Yeah, I think long-term goal is really, become the contractor. Learn from our side of things and be able to direct that into our own businesses.
Right.
Like we understand all of the lead gen side of things, and learning from, folks like you that have really started to do it within the roofing space. My brother-in-law owns an HVAC company. My uncle owns a plumbing company. Like I see the work that those guys put in.
Right.
And I am definitely no plumber. I'm definitely not going to be on a roof.
You got the beard for it, though.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I could pull it off. I can navigate that kind of room,
Right.
But I'm definitely working on eventually owning these companies, because I think that there is kind of a lost art with it.
Yeah.
And I think it would be great to like go full circle. We're we're generating a lead, dialing it ourselves, setting our own appointment, showing up to the job.
And it also helps you go full circle, but I feel like you're already almost there in a lot of capacity because of the feedback loops, understanding the numbers, understanding what it's supposed to look like, right? And you have all different kind of partners with all different types of results, so it's hard to know like which ones are good or which ones aren't, but I feel like you're on the right track. And I'm grateful for marketing background when I first stepped into roofing, because by dealing with successful companies, I knew what I was supposed to look for. So when we were off, I can blame my company because I knew what the good companies were doing. So I'm like, it starts with the look in the mirror, right? What am I doing wrong in this industry? Why aren't I getting the results that some of my other customers are getting?
Yep.
Right. And so for you, you can kind of do the same thing. You get the pulse of who's doing it poorly and then who's murdering it in the space, right? So you can hold yourself to the same standard. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's cool, man. So, so for the group and for the audience, or whatever, I mean, you own a company, OpenHome.
Yep.
How do they find you? What's your socials? If they want your services or want your product, how do they find Ricky?
Yeah, really simple. So you can contact me directly. It's just simply ricky@openhomepros.com, RICKY. LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, we're definitely putting a good amount of content out there, but simply search OpenHome or OpenHome Pros and we'll come up.
Right on. Just a couple other questions. Just I like asking this a lot to people, just because, especially people like you that have your circle of influence is you've been very blessed with a lot of great teachers, and you become one of them. Are you mentoring any young men right now? Are you helping people on the come up? Are you carrying, like, passing the torch and saying, hey, taking them under your wing, and what does that look like for you today?
Yeah, I mean, I landed in lead gen by accident. Yeah. Randomly applied to a publicly traded company in the marketing space, had no idea what they did. Okay. Ended up finding very, very good partners, long-standing partners like yourself that I could learn from, be mentored by. I've now brought several of my friends into the industry.
Wow.
They all saw that I was having a blast, every day looked different.
Yeah.
Obviously, the money's good, but like, the idea that you don't need to work a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, and like you can get out into the world and do everything that you want to do.
Right.
I've now brought several of my buddies into the space that are working for my companies, and a couple of them have now progressed and running their own shops. So
I love that.
It's definitely like you watching me over the last few years. I've now done that myself, and it's definitely a really satisfying feeling.
One thing I love to say, and I love to say about people I care about, I said I'm jealous, but I'm happy it's you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just love watching your success and watching that going on. So the next thing, I guess, and the last thing is, like, I know you're saying what you guys are doing. Where do you see yourself and because you're a visionary, you're a young visionary, you've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, right? And it's and I know this isn't the end of the road for you. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Like, because I know you've had to expand your viewpoint of what your potential is, right? Because when I was talking to you before you went off on your own, some of the things you were asking for, you were cutting yourself short, right? And now all of a sudden you're probably almost unhireable in a lot of ways. So where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years?
It's kind of a loaded question. I think the last 5 years have been really, really entertaining. Learning a lot. A few of my partners and I exited on our first company already.
Yep,
at
congrats
the
on
age
that.
of 30.
Yeah.
Like that was my first goal.
Yeah.
Now my second goal is I would love to exit 3 by 35.
Yeah.
And by the time I hit 40, I want to be spending as much time with my kids as possible, potentially being on, a board of directors or two, and kind of never stop learning.
Yeah.
That's really what I see in the next 5 to 10 years.
I love that. Yeah, staying humble and staying whatever. Well, I don't even know where to go with this, man. Just thank you for your time, man. You guys heard it. OpenHome, Ricky Singleton, and yeah, man. Just congrats again on your success, man. And then I'm sure we're gonna do another interview soon, man. Appreciate you.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me
Thanks,
on,
brother. Appreciate it.
Are you stuck in that $3 to $10 million year-over-year revenue? Roofs in a Box is your all-in-one growth partner for modern construction companies. They combine AI, virtual staffing, and CRM solutions to help streamline operations. Replace your high fixed overhead with cost-effective systems and support. They empower you to run a smarter, leaner business, freeing up capital where it matters most. Mention this ad to save 10% on your next Roofs in a Box purchase. This episode of Pain Points is brought to you by Ringba. If your business relies on phone calls, you need to be working with them. Their technology will help you get the most money out of your marketing campaigns. Their call exchange, Ringba X, can deliver inbounds on demand to help grow your customer base. Now, I want to be transparent. Ringba and Adam did pay me to deliver that message, but I'm also a customer, and I've watched them help dozens of companies become more successful over the years. So if you sell a product or service over the phone, I guarantee a moment with their team will be worth it.